Welcome to Beyond Death, where we examine near-death experiences of people who say they died, visited the other side, and came back. Today's NDE is from Matt, who says he experienced an NDE in which he left his body and became a beam of blue energy. Matt continues to describe 2 more times leaving his body as well. Let's get into it. Hello, my name is Matt. My story starts in 2017. In October of that year, my father died. He had been in the hospital for more than a year. I went to see him every day during that time, with only a few days exception. It was an incredibly hard time for both of us. I was at home when he was in the hospital one day in October of 2017. I should have been there, but I was so tired from work and the constant hospital visits that I decided I would go see him there the next day. Though I kept in contact with the nurses who said he was not awake but stable, that night I got a call from the hospital. My family and I all rushed to the hospital. He died that night. My grandma had also passed alone. It seems when people are close to death, they wait until their family is gone to let go. Of course, a great deal of grief followed. As an only child, the responsibility of planning the funeral fell on me. Though my family was very supportive, the grief was not just from the simple loss of a parent, but also guilt for not being there when he died. After more than a year of daily visits after work and during days off, I let myself be selfish to stay home and relax, and that was when he died. I had also been working a job at a grocery retailer for 11 years, including 5 years in management. Anyone who has ever worked any retail will know how much stress and even anger that job entails. I had kept working there, hoping a better opportunity would come along. Shortly after my father died, I finally decided to force a change and took a job in a totally different field, machining. I had no experience in that at all, so I took a $3 per hour pay cut and lost 3 weeks vacation to go there. Having no experience, I had a lot of uncertainty about my professional future. All of this while having to move as well. Between my father dying, completely starting my professional life over, money problems, and having to move, I was under considerable stress. It didn't go away overnight either. For a year, I would regularly cry myself to sleep over my dad. Often I would lie awake in bed until early morning, my mind constantly mulling over all my problems, mistakes, and what the future would hold. Even 2 and 3 years later, I was still stressing and not sleeping well. Finally, one night, I woke up in a cold sweat with severe chest pains and shallow breathing. I thought for sure it was a heart attack, and I was about to die. I grabbed a hold of my girlfriend, now wife, and held her, thinking I wanted to be with her if this was the end. I passed out shortly after. That's when the experience began. I woke up again, but this time not with my eyes open. Instead, I opened what I can only describe as my inner mind's eyes. I felt a strong tingling sensation all over, even electric. I looked down with my inner eyes and saw that my body was all blue electricity that looked a little like a TV getting fuzzy bad reception. Then I started to raise my right arm. Like my inner eyes, this was not my physical arm, but my inner electric energy arm. Then I noticed that I was being helped up, as if to sit up, by another blue electric being standing next to the bed. As I sat up, it became clear I was actually being helped up out of my body. I saw myself coming out of it, but something held me back. I decided to stay and laid back down into my body and woke up right then, still holding my girlfriend. Despite all of the stress I had been under and the physical discomfort with chest pains I had just experienced right then, I felt so happy. I had been shown a glimpse of what life after death entails. I knew right then that life doesn't end, and there is more. Like most people, I've had hundreds of dreams. In each, I am more like a spectator watching a movie that I am in. I was fully aware and felt every bit of this experience. It was absolutely no dream. Not long after, I saw my father in my sleep. We talked. I don't know about what fully. I can only remember that he was in the hospital gown he died in. We were sitting in front of his childhood house. I can only remember him smiling in a very content way and saying, "I don't know." It seemed to be an answer to a question I asked, but I don't know what that was. Between my previous experience and this, I felt that I was being shown that my father was okay and no longer in pain as he had been in life for so long. I now wonder if the energy being was my father, but I really am not sure. Maybe about a year later, I was finally at terms with my father being gone, and my career was improving. Things were better. Still, I have always been someone that has trouble going to sleep. My mind just won't shut up. So one night I woke up and again couldn't get back to sleep until early morning. I was thinking about some typical problems like money or something. Again, I grabbed my wife and I held her until I finally passed out. When I did, I heard a sound like in a cartoon where something heavy drops, and I felt myself drop. I immediately popped out of my body as a mass of blue tingling energy like before. This time, I completely left my body and began flying around the room. I felt so happy and was laughing as I did this. It was a short experience, and I popped right back into my body and woke up feeling so happy. Then, finally, in 2020, I had the most amazing experience yet. Once again, I was stressing about daily concerns and couldn't sleep. Again, I held my wife until I passed out. When I did, I heard the dropping thud sound and was again blue energy separate from, but still in my body. I looked to my left. My arm was under my wife's head as she was laying on me. I started to float up from my body, and I really felt it happening. I felt as if I would move her head and wake her up, but my body was not moving. I kept floating up towards the ceiling. I felt at this point like someone going up to the top of a roller coaster. I thought, will I actually go through the ceiling? I did. I could see clearly between the floorboards as I rose up. As I went up into the attic of the house, I saw a woman sitting and crying there. I'm not sure who it was. I even asked my wife later if she had the same experience as me, wondering if it was her. Whoever it was, I spoke to her with my mind to not worry and come out of the attic. Come with me. We kept floating up and completely exited the house. As I came through the roof, I looked around and saw a beautiful countryside. It was like a normal view of the outdoors, but all the colors were so much more vivid and bright and warm than anything in our physical world. We flew around completely free and so happy for a brief time. At that point, the experience ended. I woke up again, still holding my wife. I have never felt such joy. To add to each of these experiences, after I woke up, for a few minutes I was able to see everything around me very clearly with my eyes closed. Everything looked to be made of the blue energy that I was. I could physically walk to the bathroom with my eyes completely shut and see everything plain as day. It was as if I was still not fully connected with my body at this point and could still perceive the world of energy while actually being physically awake and active. Looking back, I realized a couple of things about these experiences. I believe the first experience, with chest pains and all, was a true NDE, and if I had chosen to fully exit my body and go with the energy being that was helping me up, I would now be dead. I think I stayed purely due to my sweet, loving wife. Seeing my father was somehow related to this experience as well. I think the second two experiences were a continuation of the first, each time going further into and exploring more of a non-physical reality. Though I don't think I was about to die during these. I think I was shown what I needed to understand, that there is no need to worry and stress so much about death. Grief is understandable, but life does go on after death, and is even better than in this physical world. I also think it's no coincidence that I was holding my wife during each experience. I love her so much and she is such a good person. I am never happier than when we are laying just like that. I am certain of two things now. There is absolutely nothing to fear after death. I have never felt so free and full of joy as I did in each of these experiences. Also, I know that our state of mind when we die is important. I was so happy and content with my wife, and that translated into what I experienced. Make sure that you make choices that will allow yourself to be with the people you love. Don't allow work or other unimportant things to get in the way of this. It is so important. Notes from Beyond Death. I would like to say thank you to Matt for allowing me to share his experience with the channel. If you have had a near-death experience you would like shared, please send it to the email address listed in the description. I do ask that all submissions be at least 1,500 words and as detailed as possible. Anything less is really not long enough to make a video out of. Until next time, stay blessed.